hard question is, how do you get there? Ideally, I am looking for a truly free market system where competition among schools is driving excellence, because you don't have federal strings attached telling them how to do it. And so one school can be providing excellence and other people want to mimic that. And so you let the free market work in education because it drives excellence. But when we're trying to micromanage everything, we're basically putting out a fire that was started when the Department of Ed was created, where we're centralizing power over education with the same gasoline that started the fire. We are trying to solve problems that were created by centralizing power over education with more centralizing of power over education, in my opinion. And I don't think that that would work. And so ideally, I would like to see education move back to a truly local level where parents and teachers are capable to work together and accountability is truly with the local community and with the parents, and there isn't federal oversight going on, because I believe that that we can do better than what they're trying to do. And education in America started to decline as soon as we started centralizing power over education.
My ideal system would be local. Yeah, go back to the beginning, so to speak. It would involve a state board that had minimal involvement on the districts, in which districts chose their standards. Districts decided how to handle personnel issues, and even more autonomy at the school level, so that parents could have more say in what happened at various schools. I think I would say I would want to see us abandon the use of business or capitalist practices applied to education. And when I mean that, I say that, I mean stop treating children like they're widgets, and the education system produces college and career-ready widget. And rather just have this local system where the teachers and the parents know the kids. You've got this tripod functioning, teachers, parents, and students. I don't think you need data systems and standards created by experts far away to create good education.
I'm remembering a conversation I had a few years ago with a good friend of mine. His name is Pasi Sahlberg. For many years, he was the Deputy Minister of Education in Finland. Pasi and I served on an international board of directors for an educational group that really focused on best practice in teaching, learning, and leadership. And Finland has been successful in helping their students achieve. And one day after lunch, he and I just sat for 45 minutes, and I asked him, Pasi, what's happening in Finland that you guys are getting at? And he said, Jeff, our schools are performing, our students are achieving, not because we hold our students more accountable, not because we hold our schools more accountable, not because our students are better test takers. These are not the drivers we're looking for. I said, Pasi, what are the drivers? And he said, there are three. Number one, we want to make sure every child has equal opportunities to learn. Number two, we want to make sure that we're providing a broad, rich, comprehensive learning experience that meets the needs of the whole child. And number three, we want to empower our teachers through professional development. Now, there's been some talk here tonight about measuring teacher performance, and I want to tell you that's different than improving teacher performance. There's been no discussion about any policy that discussed how do you improve teacher performance. And it begins with professional development. And we've lost days. 5, 6 years ago, we had 10 days to work with our teachers. We have 0 now. Then Pasi looked at me and he said, in your country, you're at an advantage. I said, how so? He said, all of the best practice on teaching and learning and leadership exists in this country. We've come to you for best practice. But there's just one difference, and this was kind of a sad final statement. In Finland, we apply your research. You know, we need to get back to best practice. We need to help policymakers understand what best policy is that supports best practice, and now we'll be able to help children have broad, rich, full learning experiences and achieve their full potential.
I think Autumn brought up the question, accountability to whom? And in the state of Utah, we actually have state law that outlines who is supposed to be primarily responsible for the raising and the education of children, and that is parents. And the school system is supposed to be secondary and supplementary. The school system is supposed to help parents in whatever direction the parents choose to educate their children. And the way that you do that is through very local systems. You have locally elected boards of education who are supposed to be accountable to parents. And if the parents don't like Investigations Math and Alpine School District, parents should be able to get rid of it, even if every expert out there says this is the best thing to do for kids, because they should not be accountable to the experts, they should be accountable to the parents. What we have done is we have centralized control, and we've said, oh, but we need to give some sort of accountability for our centralization. But again, who are we accountable to? We're accountable to whoever gives the contract to the test developer, who then is testing whoever developed the standards. And if the standards say you're going to learn how to add and subtract using these 5 methods, then those 5 methods have to be taught. And if I as a parent don't want that, it's out of my hands. So we need to go back to, again, local accountability. You have very minimal accountability at the state level. It used to be that the state was just there to fill in the gaps when you ran out of funding at the local level. But the local school boards need to be accountable to the local parents. They need to be in charge of their teachers, hiring the teachers, determining what it is that determines a highly effective teacher on a local level. And any influence from outside, from the state, is too far away from the parents. It's too concentrated, it's too centralized. And I go back to Thomas Jefferson. He says, what has destroyed liberty and the rights of man in every government that has ever existed under the sun? The generalizing and concentrating of all cares and powers into one body. All 45 states, now 43 states, with national standards, we're testing those standards. What is tested is what drives curriculum, and that is wrong. You need to give the power back to the parents at the local level.
Okay, we have met in the public square. Isn't this awesome? We've come together as a community, leadership, a great leader, to talk about issues, and important issues in our community, in the lives of our children, and the future of our country. Please join me in giving a big round of applause to our panelists who have educated us here tonight and on so many levels. Thank you so much, panelists, for what you have brought to us. And I think every one of you that are in the audience should also be thanked for being interested in this issue and being here tonight to learn more about it. And then finally, if we could also thank Representative Fossen. We appreciate your leadership and your foresight in bringing us together as a community to talk about these things. Thank you for your leadership. It's been an honor and pleasure for me to be with you. I'll turn the time back to Representative Fossen.
I'll make this quick. There are a few people I just wanted to recognize who are here with us that we didn't recognize previously. Senator Alan Christensen's here. His wife Janice Christensen, who's a candidate for the Weber School Board. Council members from North Ogden, Lynn Satterthwaite, Philip Swanson, Camille Niner, my Democratic opponent in the general elections here. I'm not sure if Roger McConaughey's here. Roger's here, thank you. Roger's also our libertarian opponent in the general. Please hold your applause. It's not for Republican, we can't clap. So. Christy Moore, who was on the selection committee for the SAGE testing, and Keith Buswell, our state school board representative here, for the majority of us, if not all of us. Again, very quickly, there are a couple of positions that I've already taken, many of you are already aware of, and most of them were already in my campaign material as I campaigned in the primary election. The first is to protect our students' privacy. To me, that's a huge issue. I'm not sure why we haven't been able to get that done yet, but I will absolutely be pursuing that, and I'm already taking steps in that direction. The second is proper representation at the state and local levels, meaning elected representation of our values, our ideals, the things that we want for our students. And third is to reduce our dependence on federal funding. Cut the strings and not be beholden to our federal funds, yet be able to maintain the programs that are important to our students and our parents. So finally, I want to remind everyone, I've actually got my cards, my state representative cards. It's got all my contact information, including my cell phone. I encourage you to come and pick one up so you know how to get a hold of me if I don't know you personally already. And there's also an email list. Please jot down your name and email if you'd like to be included. If you're not already getting my emails, if you didn't get an email about this event, then you're not on my email distribution list. Come and sign the list, please. I want to thank our Weber High help here, Brent. Is that right? Thank you for being here. He's the only person in the room running everything, and I appreciate his help. And then finally, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Like Tim said, it's so important that you're involved. Continue to be involved. Be vocal. Get out and vote. And then I want to thank Tim Wheelwright and our distinguished panel again. Please give them a round of applause. I did miss one point. There's a stack of questions that went unanswered. I realized we ran out of time. We probably could go for 8 more hours. I will be reaching out to our panelists, and if they agree to do so, I'd like to get some additional answers to the questions that were written. And I'll be posting those on my Facebook page. So if you don't know how to get a hold of me on Facebook, please do. It's easy for me to do it that way. And then I'll also be emailing them out to this distribution list, and you'll sign up here. I'll send those answers out to you. Thank you again for being here.